Hello and welcome to Bradio Software Development. My name is Brad, and today we're going to be talking about installing NestJS and doing an overview of the directory. So if I go to my iPad, we can see that we have those two there. So session 2A, we're going to be talking about NestJS and doing a directory overview. So without further ado, let's get straight into the video. So I've just did an overview video, and now this is the next one in the chain. So you may notice I'm also wearing glasses, and the reason for that is because it's I'm actually recording in the daytime for once because I'm a bit of a night owl and I only record at night time. But today, all the lights coming through the window, I've had to put this t-shirt here to stop the reflection off the fridge. But it also means I've had to make my ring light a lot brighter, so it's kind of blinding me. So I've decided to put on my blue light glasses. These are actually blue light. I know it doesn't look like it. But they've got like a polarized lens as well, so it means I can still see the screen, but my eyes are deflected from the ring light. And let's get into it. So the first thing we need to do is open up our terminal. And then we need to find the directory that we created before in a previous video. So we've done the JDTV system, because as you remember, we're developing a drone app essentially. So it's called JDTV, Just Drones TV, and we've already got our Git repo. Okay, so if we load up GitHub and click sign in, and we want the account that we made before, because we made an account just for the sake of this demo. And then here we've got our repo JDTV. So this is the one we cloned from the previous video. And what we also need to do is open up our NestJS website. A progressive Node.js framework. It is extremely progressive. And then we go to the documentation. Now I have done this a million times, but it's always good to go to the documentation just to see if there's any updates or any changes to versions and stuff like that. We always want to make sure that we're using the most stable version of any platform. So the first thing we need to do is install this NestJS CLI package globally. Now this isn't actually installing NestJS to our repo. What it's doing is it's giving us the CLI tools globally, access to our terminal, so that we can then create projects using the NestJS CLI. Okay, so that download is now finished. As you can see, there's nothing in the directory, it's just installed this globally. So if we scroll here, we can see that the next command we need to run is nest new project name. So what I like to do is I like to try and give the apps a meaningful name that I will eventually use in Docker as the namespace or the container name. So what I'm going to do is do nest new, and the project name we're going to give it is API. So we don't need to call it JDTV API because we already know that we're inside the JDTV project and it is an API of that project. Now, because we're going to be using microservices, you might want to give it a more meaningful name, such as like Community API or Drone API or Map API or something like that. But for now, we're just going to do API, and we can rename it in the future if we, because that's the beauty of microservices. You can move things along and rename files, and change everything. So a lot of developers like to get caught up on the naming of things. I prefer to just give it a name there and then if you need to change it, there's no harm in doing that in the future. So I had many lengthy discussions about naming something rather than actually just doing the work. So it does get a bit tedious. So we'll just wait for that to run. We chose npm as our package repository of choice. You can use yarn if you want to. I'm just more familiar with npm. I know that I have used yarn and it is a little bit quicker, but if anything goes wrong, I want to be able to fix it, and I'm more familiar with npm. So we'll just wait for that to finish. Okay, so we've now got our NestJS installed under the API folder. So if we cd into the API folder, we can see that it's set up a load of projects for us, a load of files, for us. And if we go to the documentation, the next thing that we need to do is an npm install. So we'll just copy and paste that from the docs. Actually, you can see that the CLI command has already done the npm install for us, but it doesn't matter. As you can see, we found 0 vulnerabilities. and it just audited packages, didn't actually install any new ones because we've literally just done it. So we didn't actually need to run that command. But so how we can test this is if we do npm run start. Okay, so that appears to be working. Now I know from experience that this does run on port 3000 as default. You can change that later on, but for now we'll just keep everything as default. Oh, and as you can see here, it does actually say open your browser and navigate to localhost 3000. And as you can see, we have hello world up there, which indicates that our NestJS project is working. Something else that I probably should have added to my list of things to do is to actually open up Visual Studio Code as well. So we installed this in one of the previous videos. And what we're going to do is, instead of just opening the folder, we're actually going to create a workspace. So if we go to File, Open Recent, JDTV System. So if you haven't got it in your recents, you'll have to click Open here, and then open the folder. And then what we can do here is we can actually go to File and click Save Workspace As. And then we can call it jdtv.workspace or jdtvsystem.workspace and save it. And then if we close it and go to File and Open Workspace, if we find the workspace file, which is here inside our repository, we can actually click Open. And the really nice thing about Visual Studio Code workspaces is that if we have like a really complicated folder structure, and some of the team is using Visual Studio Code, I know a lot of developers, for a lot of developers, it is their editor of choice. They can actually just open this workspace, and it will have all the settings for their Visual Studio IDE inside here. Now, obviously, if you work at a company where everybody is just allowed to use whatever they want, which I fully agree with, you might not want to add this because it might clutter up the repo. But because I'm a one-man band and I'm doing this on my own, and I know that I'm using Visual Studio Code, I'm going to be using this workspace option here. So, and then if we click in API, click in source, we can see that we have our getHello method here. And if we do command click on that function, we can see hello world, which is what's being shown to the front end, or the back end of the front end of the back end. So yeah, so that's the video for now. Okay, so thank you for watching this episode. I'm just going to go and tick the things that we managed to do today. So we've managed to install NestJS. We've done our direct overview. So I think we made some pretty good progress today. Join me in my next video for session 2B that should be coming out either tomorrow or the day after. And I hope to see you there.